get you, of course, the opportunity and the chance to respond to what you've heard and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, we're delighted to have her here, the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen.
Thank you very much. First of all, Madam President Chaputova, Prime Minister Heger, dear Eduard, Prime Minister Karinc, dear Christianis, what a pleasure to see you here, and I see the Prime Minister of Georgia, too. Ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, before I start to reflect on what we heard from President Zelensky, I want to thank this country, Slovakia, for your outstanding generosity and solidarity with the Ukrainian refugees you're receiving here. It's almost 700,000. You've opened your hearts, you've opened your minds. History will never forget your gratitude, your solidarity, and the shining example you are. So many, many thanks for that. We have just heard President Zelensky, and it has been now 15 weeks that Russia has invaded Ukraine, an innocent neighbor, and we have learned so much about the tenacity of the Ukrainian soul. The people of Ukraine have found courage in adversity. We've just listened again and witnessed again that, and strength in each other. And even as this brutal bombing and shelling is going on, they've never left hope. They have never lost sight of what it is all about. It is about shaping the future of Ukraine. And the question indeed, how will Ukraine look like in 5 or 10 or 15 years? And the impressive element in it is that the Ukrainian people know exactly what they want their country to be. They want freedom. They want sovereignty. They want security. They want to fulfill the incredible potential of this beautiful country. They want to shape their future, the future on their own. And they want to be part of our European family. And they will at no cost let Kremlin stand in their way. I think this Ukrainian resolve is really inspiring for the whole world. I was, like you, Madam President, in Kiev right before Easter in Bucha. I've met survivors who were barely able to find words for what they have suffered. I've seen the mass graves. I've seen the body bags lined up next to a church. I have seen this trail of blood and destruction caused by the Russian army, and yet the Ukrainian people's desire to resume their lives after that terror is stronger than anything else. In just 1 month, they built a new railway bridge reconnecting the two towns to Kiev. And the situation is still dire, without any question. But they are taking back their towns, they are taking back their lives, disrespect of what is happening on the ground, and this is so impressive. Ukrainians want to return to the path that leads towards the future they dream of, towards a prosperous Ukraine, a peaceful country. And I want all of them to know that our European Union stands by their side. We will do everything possible in our power so that Ukrainians can once again be the masters of their own future. First, we have to support them to overcome this war. Second, they badly need financial relief. And third, we have to accompany Ukrainians in pursuing their path towards the European Union. And these are the very practical 3 topics I want to speak about. Ladies and gentlemen, Ukrainians must win this war. And Putin must witness that for him it is a severe strategic failure. It must be clear that invading a sovereign country comes with a massive price tag for the aggressor. We are all standing up for Ukraine. And therefore, we are not only providing military aid to a country under attack. I see here the leaders in the room, and I know of your work here in this field in bilateral support of military equipment, but also the European level for the first time ever in our history is providing financial support for buying military equipment for the Ukrainians. We are mobilizing our full economic power. Putin has mobilized his armed forces. We are mobilizing our economic power with the powerful sanctions that we have imposed. We have imposed economic sanctions on any kind of goods that might be necessary for modernizing or diversifying the Russian economy. And these sanctions are biting, they're grinding their teeth into the Russian economy. We're paralyzing the Russian central bank's capacity to raise capital. We're cutting off Russian banks from the SWIFT system. We are getting rid, and we have to get rid, of our dependency of Russian fossil fuels. This is the deepest cut we can do to the Russian economy, because the Russian economy is not a very modern economy, it's not a very diversified economy, but it is an economy based on fossil fuels. So if we want to hit the Kremlin's war chest, if we want to drain Putin's war chest, then we have to get rid of our dependency on Russian fossil fuels. We have gotten rid of coal already. We're working hard now to ban up to 90% of Russian oil, and we have to get rid of Russian gas. And for that, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have put out our plan, our roadmap. This is Repower EU. It's a plan of 300 billion euros that is composed of, on one hand, energy saving. That sounds so simple, but it's a powerful tool. If we would only lower in the heating, for example, 2 degrees Celsius, or if there is an air conditioning, increase it by 2 degrees Celsius, in the European Union, this is the whole supply we're getting through Nord Stream 1 at the moment being Russian gas. Only 2 degrees. Everybody can contribute. Everybody can give his or her share to reduce the dependency on Russian gas. Second, we have to diversify away from Russia and Russian gas to our trustworthy and reliable suppliers, like, for example, the United States, but also others. So we've now formed a joint platform to purchase together gas elsewhere in the world, because we know we also have, as 27, a huge market power. And the third topic is the most important one. That is, we have to massively invest in renewable energy. Renewable energy, we all know, it's good to fight climate change. But it is also good to fight the Kremlin's aggression against Ukraine. Because renewable energy will replace Russian gas. Every single kilowatt hour we get from solar, wind, biomass, you name it, hydrogen, is a kilowatt hour that we will be reducing our dependency on Russian fossil fuels. And therefore, we know that renewable energy, as I said, is not only good for our climate, it is also good for our independence, and it is also good for our security, energy of supply. And they are homegrown, and they create good and quality jobs here in the European Union. And then we have to do everything possible to support Ukraine to keep up its economy. According to the United Nations, Ukraine's economy output might fall by 50% this year. Yet millions of Ukrainians still need to make their living. So to support them, we have suspended all duties and all quotas on Ukrainian goods. And we are setting up solidarity lanes now to try to get out of the country as much wheat or cereals or corn and agricultural products as we can. Because you know that Putin is blocking the export of wheat via the Black Sea. It is atrocious to see that deliberately, Putin is blocking the wheat supply of the world. 50% of the World Food Programme comes from Ukraine's wheat. We desperately need that wheat. But he's driving his war in taking not the slightest responsibility for being the one who one day has to stand up for the fact that people are dying of hunger and famine will be big again and hunger will be a driving motor again in the world. He is deliberately bombarding warehouses with Ukrainian wheat. At the moment being, we have 20 million tons of Ukrainian wheat stuck in Ukraine. So we have to do everything to get it out via our green lanes. This is not trivial, but it is absolutely worth every single effort. We know that Ukraine could literally feed the world. About 2/3 of the country are covered with the so-called black earth, one of the most fertile soils of the world. And there's this beautiful Ukrainian flag, which symbolizes the yellow fields under a blue, blue sky. This is Ukraine, and we want this Ukraine to have a future. And this leads me to my third point, that is economic support and reconstruction. Ukraine needs economic and financial support now. We know that at the moment being, Ukraine needs per month 5 billion euros just to make it, to pay the pensions, to pay the salaries, to have basic services continuing, like health service, for example. So we need to set up a mechanism that there is the basic support, financial support of round about 5 billion euros per month for Ukraine. G7 started and put out 9 billion already. 7.5 billion of those are from our American friends, and 1 billion from Germany in grants. We, the European level, proposed now to match this and to put up an extraordinary macro-financial assistance. We're discussing that in the European Council, but this is the minimum we can do to support Ukraine to make it through the next month financially. But what is also as important as the now is that we start to think, and President Zelensky did it on screen, that we start to think now about reconstructing this beautiful country, Ukraine. And for that, we want to build a platform. And President Zelensky spoke partially about it. We want to create a platform where all these initiatives that are out there, be it, for example, from our American friends, but also World Bank, IMF, OECD, G20, you name it, bilateral countries, all these initiatives and financial support are channeled on a platform where we together decide on the direction to travel. This platform is led and owned by Ukraine because it's Ukraine who decides on its future. But together with them, we want to engage in, from the very beginning on, to shape this platform in a way that we have investment with reform. The European Commission will stand by Ukrainian side with all the track record we have, with all the experience we have, to help them, that the investment is effective, combined with the necessary reforms that then will, of course, pave the way into the European Union. It is for us important that there are reforms on the administrative capacity, for example, on a strong rule of law, on an independent judiciary, always the fight against corruption, but also creating a conducive environment for the business sector so that investors have confidence and trust and come back and invest in Ukraine. Ukrainians are fighting so bravely because they know exactly what kind of future they want. A future of a free and open society belonging to a strong democratic community. They want to join the European Union. We've heard it over and over again. I think it's not only our strategic interest, but it is our moral duty to make it possible that they join our European Union and that we pave the path towards our union. And let me tell you why I think it is so important to combine investment and reform. Because, of course, our standards and conditions in an EU accession process must be met. There is neither a wild card nor shortcut. But how fast, how quickly, how the speed of such a process is, this is depending on the country itself and our support. And I'll never forget, Prime Minister, dear Eduard, that you told me what a change it made in Slovakia when the country, at a certain point in time, decided to be serious about the accession process towards the European Union. And then you told me that the European Commission sent expertise, advice, a team that worked with you day and night to do the reforms that were necessary. Of course, there was a certain amount of investment, and you made it within a few years. And this is important. Once again, no shortcuts, no wildcard. Standards and conditions have to be met because this is true for all of us in the European Union, and we know on a daily basis how hard it is to keep these standards up among us 27. So that has to be. But it's up to us how much we support, how much we invest, and it's in the hands of our Ukrainian friends what they are making out of it. And ladies and gentlemen, after all, I always think when I listen to President Zelensky and all our Ukrainian friends, and the last days I met many young people from Ukraine, young delegates from Ukraine, Ukraine's longing and its aspirations are basically a reflection of what we have achieved together over the past 77 years. And if I may pick up the words that President Zelensky spoke, I think it was the last question on the responsibility he has. He said, "This is not a burden. This is a great responsibility." And this should be our motto, supporting Ukraine on its path towards the European Union. It is not a burden. It is our historic responsibility. Long live Europe, slava Ukraine.